Good afternoon, everyone. I am LGP Corvera, the last reporter for ECA 15, and my topic is all about the decision making model of child guidance. So, what is making model of child guidance? So, this is the decision model of child guidance is a structured frameworks that uh, uses by caregivers, teachers, as a guide to address the children's behavior, emotional and developmental needs. And also, this model's core is this aims is to ensure that decisions are made thoughtfully and tailored to the child's individual's needs and to enhance their decision-making skills. So the decision-making model of child guidance has key components, and these are the one is to identify the concern. Of course, the one of the role of the teachers is to observe the child's behavior in a classroom settings. If the child shows aggressions, withdrawal, or difficulty with peers, or even in academic challenges, so as teachers, we have to observe each individuals through having anecdotal records, time sampling, or even event sampling. We can use that to observe our children and list down the behavior that we have observed during or during or after the class. Next is understanding the child's needs. So once we observe their behavior, of course, we have also to identify the root causes of this behavior. We can, let's say, for example, a child shows tantrum from frustrating due to inability to communicate effectively rather than intentional defiance. Of course, if children cannot communicate effectively, he or she cannot express his or her feelings well. So it creates a barriers to have a effective communication, and with that, the child may have tantrums. And also, we have to identify what are the causes of this inappropriate behavior. Next is to establishing goals. So goals should focus on goals should focus on improving specific behavior, skills, or emotional regulations. So of course, if after natin mag-observe and ma-identify ang causes ng behavior ng isa kabata, we have to establish goals that are appropriate for them and tailored to meet their needs. So our goal should be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So example, instead of setting a vague goal like improve behavior, aim for encourage the child to express frustration with words instead of physical action over the next 2 weeks. So here an example, instead of saying or encouraging the child, we can use physical actions over the next 2 weeks. Let's say, for example, if the child shows positive behavior, we can um, tap their shoulders or head and say, "Very good for doing a positive behavior," and we should expound this. We should expound on how we encourage the children in order for them also to know that they are let's like they are valued. So next is analyzing influences. So of course, when child shows inappropriate behaviors, the root causes of this may be internal or external. So we have to analyze what influenced their behavior and why they are acting that way. So in internal factors, we have this emotional state, temperament, or any developmental delays. So children with developmental delays often shows disruptive behavior, especially when they are not giving attention or enough attention. While here in external factors, family's environment, peer relationships, or academic pressures may affect the child's behavior. Let's say, for example, in their house, their family or their parents are neglectful. Of course, this will have a effect to the children, and also their peer relationship. So their relationship with their classmates may also have effect on how they behave in the classroom. And number 5 is choosing for strategies. So selecting appropriate evidence-based interventions based on the child's needs and goals. So in choosing strategies, we have to choose strategies that are suitable for these children and to address their needs in terms of their behavior and their emotional well-being. So here we can have a positive reinforcement by giving them reward, or modeling by demonstrating positive behaviors for the child to emulate. So knowing that these children are good imitators, of course, what we saw from us will reflect also to them. So if we model good and positive behavior, of course these children will also apply this to their daily living. Let's say by copying our actions, we can use this to their peers to communicate, and also to of and also to themselves also. So also we can set boundaries, clear and consistent limits help children feel secure. Having clear and consistent limits, well, as they say, diba, consistency is the key. Having consistent, clear and consistent limits will, these children will feel secured because na naman. because because we're giving them a clear, giving clear expectations, and these children will somehow follow these rules in order for them also to have a, or in order for them also to master good behavior and emotional state. So strategy should avoid punitive measures that could harm the child emotionally or psychologically. Of course, our strategies, as I said earlier, should be suitable for children. It should be also doable so that children will not be frustrated. Next is monitoring progress. So regularly evaluate the child's progress using observation or feedback from others. Adjust strategies if the desired results are not being achieved. So of course, after our observation and after we observe and understand the root causes of this, we have to establish goals and then analyze also the other factors that influence their behaviors. So after that, we have to choose this appropriate strategies and implementing the plan. So after implementing the plan, we should also monitor the progress. Dili kay after they implement the plan, we stop na dayon kita. Dapat we should still continue what we have started. So by monitoring their progress, we can see if these children's behavior are changing over the past, let's say past days, di ba? Ma-compare o ma-contrast nato if there are changes sa kanila behavior. Then if not naman, if the strategies is not effective, then we can use or we can adjust the strategies to to improve their behavior. Next is reflecting and adapting. So reflect on the outcomes. So after monitoring the progress, we have to reflect whether the strategies are effective or not. Does our strategies work well, or what didn't work, di ba? We can use these insights to refine the guidance process for future challenges. Next is the monitoring progress, reflecting, adapting. Next is the significance of the model. So this one of the significance of this model is to promote individualized support. Of course, as teachers, we have to have this individual plan for these children. We should create a plan that's suitable for their level and developmental level and age. So, knowing that these children have unique needs and differences, we have to create individualized plan for them para ma-cater na to ang kanilang needs. So next is to foster positive relationship. It is very important that teachers and students have this positive relationship in order also for the students to feel secure, safe, and belong in the classroom settings. Kaya if the teacher is dili siya welcoming, of course, ang bata may hesitant, mag-hesitate siya nga muskwela balik. Next is to encourage proactive interventions. Of course, these guides or these frameworks will help the children to act accordingly before the situation goes bad. Like for example, when you say proactive sa good, they can think of solution beforehand, before the problems arises. So that's why we have to encourage proactive interventions to these children. Next is to build life skills. So of course, these strategies, these frameworks will help them to apply this to their daily life or to their daily living. So maka-apply nila through sa ilang pag-communicate sa outside sa school. So they can create a positive relationship and communicate effectively sa ilaha outside sa ilahang classroom. Next is the challenges in using the model. So kung may significance, of course, may challenges in using this model. One of these is time consuming. So it is a long process from observation to reflecting and adapting. It takes time because dili kita pwede maka-observe one day lang, 2 days. Dapat ang observation na to, if pwede, through the whole week, i-observe na to ang bata. If ang behavior niya ginapikita is kuan ba siya or always ba niya tabu or what we call this yung ano ba kung may time ba na or may event lang sa kada may event lang ba or time ini na behavior mahitabo. So amo yan ang one of the challenges time kay makakuha siya ng time sa teachers, and dili sa pwede na mag-focus lang sa si teacher sa isa ka bata kay damo iyang kanan estudyante. So next is resistant to change. So there are children na dili din sila maka-adapt to changes. Maglisod sila pag-adapt to changes, especially when ang teachers is dili clear ang kanaan ko, dili clear and consistent ang iya ginapakita na or wala siya nag-set ng clear and consistent na boundaries and strategies. So ang bata maglisod pag-adapt sa changes. Next is external constraint. Ito gainan ako sa family sa peer and also sa academic pressures. This will affect, or these are one of the challenges in using the model. And lastly is the conclusion. So, decision-making model of child guidance is a holistic and flexible framework that promotes thoughtful and ethical decisions for fostering a child emotional, social, and behavioral development by emphasizing empathy, collaboration, and adaptability. The model ensures that the child receives support tailored to their unique needs, enabling them to thrive in various aspects of life. So this decision-making model of child guidance is really important for the child to develop holistically because this caters emotional, social, and behavioral development of the child. Also, by emphasizing empathy and collaboration from both teachers and parents. So that's all. Thank you.